Alright, so I'd like to show you how to produce a scatter plot using the TI-83 or 84 graphing calculator. Actually, I think the TI-82s will do this as well, but for some of the things later on in the course that we'll do, we'll need the 83s or 84s. They have some extra features that we'll use. But for this purpose, what we want to do is take a look at using a scatter plot. So the first thing that we need to do is, well, we had this data in our notes about temperature and cricket chirps, and that's the scatter plot that we want to see. So the first thing that we have to do is put that data into the calculator. So I've got my notes up here, and we'll transfer that into the calculator. And the place that will go is under Stat. So you click your Stat button. I should say I'm using a virtual graphing calculator here. You can use your physical one if you've got one, or if not, there's instructions on Blackboard for downloading a virtual copy of the TI-83 for your computer from the TI website if you're interested in that. So we'll hit the Stat button, and then to enter data we're going to go into Edit. So I can just hit Enter right here, or hit 1 if you like. That would do the same thing. And you see that it's got several lists. This is L1, L2, L3. This is places to enter data into lists. So what I want to do is make my X's, my temperatures that we had in list 1, and those number of cricket chirps in list 2. So for the temperatures, I'll just go ahead and put those in. 83, enter, 72, and so on. 88, 84, 80, 76, 70, and 93. Okay, those are our 8 temperatures. And if you notice right here, it'll keep track of where you are in that list. It says that's the 8th position. The blank one down below it would be the 9th. So check to make sure that that's the right number of values. All right, then I want to put in my Y's that go along with that, my number of cricket chirps to go along with each one of those temperatures. So I'll just hit my right arrow key to move over to the next list and put those in. Now make sure you get these in the same order, because these are obviously paired together, one temperature with one number of cricket chirps. So we don't want to mix up the order here, because we want to keep those paired in the same position in the list for the X's and the Y's. And then sorry for getting a little bit lost on my page there. It didn't show up in the notes, so I had to rewrite that over to the right a little bit. 880 for number 7 and 1180 for the 8th data point. Okay, so now the calculator knows what our data looks like. Now we have to go to the correct place to get it to draw a scatter plot for us. Alright, so the place that we'll go in order to do that is to hit second. Second will always get you to the yellow item above a button, and we want to go to stat plot. So that's second, and then y equals. Okay, and then we want to use one of these plots. So I'm going to hit enter on plot 1. We'll store this information there. I want to turn it on. You notice that off is highlighted in black there, so I want to switch that to on. So hit enter on the on. And then when you go down, make sure that on is still marked in black there. And then this first one is for scatter plot. You notice some other ones that look like bar graphs or histograms, some line graphs, and these are called box plots that we'll talk about a little bit later. Then we have to tell it where our X's and our Y's are. List 1 and list 2, that's where we put them. If you wanted to put in a different list, you can hit second and then the number. So let's say I had a bunch of data in there and I wanted list 4 and list 5 in there. I could hit second 4 and second 5. Again, you notice in yellow up above those, L4 and L5 are there. All right, but I'm going to put it back to L1 and L2. And if you're consistent and put those X's and Y's always in L1 and L2, then you won't have to worry about changing that. And then we have to decide how we want to mark our scatter plot, either with boxes, with these little crosses, or with dots. Since we just have a few points, 8 points, I think those boxes will be okay. Alright, so what we do then is hit graph to see that graph, and you notice that we don't really see that graph because this scale only goes from -10 to 10 on the X's and on the Y's. So in order to change that, we could go into Window and change that manually, change the minimum and maximum to match what our data said. Or there's a little shortcut when you're doing stat plots, and you can hit Zoom right here, the top button at the middle, the button at the top in the middle of those 5 buttons at the top there, and I think it's Zoom 9 is Zoom Stat. So we'll hit enter on Zoom Stat, and there we see our scatter plot. And then we can proceed to do more analysis with this. We'll take a look at more details with this in Chapter 10 as far as correlation and some regression capabilities of the calculator as well. But for now, that's what we wanted to do, is get a scatter plot of that data. So give that a try with some other data if you like, and see how that works.